What's up? What's up, you guys? Happy Friday. We are live. Let me put my mic over here so y'all can hear me. What is going on? I am super pumped. I'm excited. Number one, because it's Friday. It's my kids' last day of school, so we got a lot of big plans for my kids. But in this video right here, while we are live, we're gonna be doing some Q&A. I know I'm a little bit late. I apologize. I had a really important thing to take care of. We just launched a wellness center out here, so I'm very proud of my wife. She finally decided to take the leap and get into the world of entrepreneurship. If anyone follows me and my wife on our Instagram or on our Facebook page, you guys will know that my wife, she enjoys doing what she does in her profession. I'm the entrepreneur of the family, and I finally kind of pulled her into the light side. I pulled her into the entrepreneurship, and she's super excited, super nervous. But everything I'm going to talk to you guys about today is the exact strategy I'm going to be sharing with my wife. We are going to get her business funded beyond measure just through grants. And I wanted to do a Q&A with you guys. I'm going to open up the chat line so you guys can drop a comment on the side and let me know what kind of questions you guys have, what's on your mind, what your struggles are. I'll share a little bit about what I do on how I find certain grants that make sense for my business. And I'm going to talk about things that I like to avoid because there's certain grants that aren't so good and I don't apply for those things. But more importantly, I want to hear from you. I want to know, what are you guys struggling with? What questions you have? And did you get a grant this year? 2023 is a huge year. We've been seeing some massive wins, and I'm waiting for any day now. We're in the beginning of June, so I'm expecting in the next couple days, I should be hearing back for a grant for one of my businesses. It's for my for-profit LLC. I applied for a grant that's $150,000, and they're allowing me to use majority of it for payroll. Being that I'm an employee of my business, I can pay myself for the hard work that I put into my businesses every single day. But more specifically, I'm going to get paid through my LLC corporation, so I can use it to pay myself. And then everything else, I'm going to make sure that I put towards equipment. I'm going to put towards supply, rent. I rent this room from myself. So although this is an office in my house, I pay rent to myself. So when I get the grant money, I will be paying myself, the landlord, right? Rent money. And we did some actual recent upgrades. We put some new flooring and stuff into my office and some other things. I bought a bunch of equipment and lighting and stuff for my home office, which I'm going to be able to claim also. And I can use the grant money to pay for these things I've been doing. So with that said, you guys, I can talk circles about how you can leverage money to make yourself more money and also to accommodate your lifestyle. But I want to know, what are your number one struggles when it comes to grants? What is it that you find that is a hurdle that is stopping you from getting grants? While you guys are typing in the comments and let me know what you guys think, I want to do a quick little screen share with you guys. I just want to show you guys some good examples of what you guys can do for yourself so you guys can start getting grants. If none of you all, if anyone has been to my Grant Secrets workshop, if you checked it out, you guys saw how I break things down in categories. All right. So as a business owner, I want you to get out of your mind that you have to apply for grants that is similar to your business, right? Let's use, for an example, unclaimed funds. Let's talk about tax overages and unclaimed funds. You waste more time trying to search grants that is specific to unclaimed funds than if you actually spend time looking for grants that support women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, business owned by people with disabilities, minority-owned businesses. We got people with all kinds of different backgrounds where we can start looking at ourselves and say, hey, I fit that category. I'm a senior. There's grants for seniors who are in business, so there's different categories where you as an individual, you qualify for grants. Now, moving forward, my question for you guys out there, I see the comments are starting to come in. Good. My question, you guys, is, do you have a business plan? If you don't worry. I got you. We're going to work this one out. We're going to figure this out. All right, I want to pop in the first question. And the first question we put is, how is it for the Recovery Asset Corporation? All right, that's coming from Gloria. Great question. Great question. Okay, so I want you guys to think it about like this, right? This is like, me just like coming at you raw. When you're thinking about the Recovery Asset Corporation, think about the people who you're helping, right? What types of people in your community, whatever it's the nation, your state, your city, I don't know where you're working, but think about who you're helping. If you're helping people who make less than, like, let's say $250,000 a year, right? Well, technically, you're helping people who are economically disadvantaged, right? That's the term that I like to use. That I help economically disadvantaged people because they make less than $250,000, recover assets. I provide a service for them, that they otherwise couldn't do on their own, right? Like, just like someone like, with the ERC. If any of you guys had a business, back in 2019, 2020, 2021, everyone's probably hitting you up talking about the ERC and get your payback because of COVID. There's people who hit me up. They don't charge me for the service, but they're asking for 20% of the money that they get from me from ERC. Could I do ERC by myself? Absolutely. I can go and claim those funds for myself as a business owner. Do I have the time, desire to figure it out, learn about it, and do it? No, I don't have the time. I don't want to figure out what documents and what forms I need to fill out. I'm pretty sure it might be a little easy for me to do it, but am I willing to give 20% away? Sure. If I'm going to get 50K, 60K, and I got to cut you a little bit of the pie so you can get that money, great. Okay. But you're helping out. Who are you helping out? You're helping out a veteran. You're helping out a minority. You're helping out a socially economic disadvantaged individual, right? There's different ways you can slice that pie to where you can say, like, these are the types of people who I help. And in order for me to help these people in this situation, I absolutely need some funding for my business. A lot of times there's grants out there that it doesn't matter what your business is. It really doesn't. All that really matters is that you are in business, okay? And you have objectives and you have needs, because you want to provide jobs for people, for different types of people in categories, that helps the economy grow, right? Because by providing jobs in your community, in your state, whatever the case may be, you are helping the economy. So these are little things that I add into my grant proposals or my business plan, so I can just copy and paste when I'm applying for grants. There are grants out there that's not even going to ask you. They could care less. What is your grant all about? They don't really care. They just want to know that, are you in business? Who are you? And what do you want to do with our funds? Do you want to do marketing? Do you want to buy equipment? All these different things. So those are things that you need to take in consideration. Someone put they're at work, so I'll be listening in and out and watch later. Okay, cool. Absolutely. Now watch away. Now, why are grants so amazing? Grants are amazing because you don't have to pay this money back if you use it appropriately. And I get plenty of grants, and I always play within the rules, but you guys got to know, what are you entitled to do? If you don't know what you're entitled to do, of course, it could be a little bit more difficult because you don't know, like, what you're allowed to spend the money on. But they put in the fine print in these grants what you can use the money for. So let's go ahead, and I want to make sure I do a quick screen share for you guys right here. All right, hopefully you guys can see my screen. This is one of the websites. There are like a lot of websites out there, but I like using GrantWatch for an example, just because these grants, these sites right here, it has a really good, nice, user-friendly breakdown of like different types of grants. So they got grants for nonprofits, for small businesses, for individuals, federal grants, and foundation grants. Now, if you guys are in business but you're a sole proprietor, you can get grants, but your selection is a lot slimmer than someone who is an actual small business or nonprofit. Obviously, nonprofit is king when it comes to getting grants, but there are grants for small businesses that are for profits. Okay, so don't think that you're down and out, because there's stuff out there for you. Now, as you scroll down here, you see the different categories. We have grants for aging and seniors, arts and culture, awards, BPOC, that's Black, Indigenous, People of Color, business, capital funding. If you work with children, maybe just maybe you guys have a portion of your company where you train children how to be entrepreneurs for free, no cost, but you need money to provide the service because time is money, spaces cost money. So maybe you do something like a workshop once a month for the children in your community. So even though you live in New York and you're doing business in California, in New York, you're taking in people who are ex-convicts, right? Let's just say that, for example, you're taking the ex-cons and you're teaching them how to do a business. You're teaching them how to be an entrepreneur, because it's hard for these guys and ladies to get back on their feet. So you do this service for people in your community, and it's really cool that, whatever. Or maybe you give jobs to people, like in a disadvantaged community. Like these are different things. Even got entrepreneurs and startups. If I click this right here, it says currently there's 160 entrepreneur and startup grants. How many of you guys, show of hands, how many of you all are startups? Do you consider yourself a startup business? All right. Like right here, this one is for grants for Arkansas artists and student artists, right? Grants of 100 or 1.5K to 7.5K, and grants of 15,000 to Arkansas artists. So they got different categories. This is just Arkansas. You can filter this, and then you can actually put in your location. Like, where do you live? Well, I live in California, right? So I can filter right there. I can apply the filters, and then we can see, is there anything in California? Well, there's 59 grants in California. That's why it blows my mind when people tell me, Joe, there's just no grants. I don't know where they're all at. This is just one website. This is one of a few of my favorite websites where you can actually find these grants. Now let's take things a step further. All right, Grant USA to entrepreneurs for capital purchase. Grants of 25,000 capital purchase to USA entrepreneurs who identify as Black. Funding is intended to allow small business to purchase commercial vehicle to improve the functioning of the company. That's awesome. All right. This is probably the progressive one. I think I applied for this one. It doesn't matter if you're in a trucking business or not. You see all the different states that it's applicable to right here. It wants me to sign in. Oh, I didn't sign in. That's why they're stopping me. So, anyways, this is one of the ones right here where it's probably progressive. And then for the progressive grant, what they do is they just say like, hey, you have to be in business, you have to have a need, and you have to spend all of this $25,000 on a vehicle. So you cannot pay rent, you cannot pay payroll, you cannot, hire employees with this. This is specifically for the purchase of a vehicle for your company so the company can be improved. Why would that help me with my at-home business? Well, it can help me in many ways. Maybe I go to networking meetings. Maybe I buy supplies and I transport it back and forth. Maybe I'm an Uber driver. Maybe, there's multiple reasons why I might need that vehicle. So if you can show that there's a need for that vehicle, you can apply for this grant and then you can get that grant. Both my vehicles that I own right now, they're both in my business's name. It builds my business credit, and it reduces my debt to income. So if I'm going to buy a house and then the banks want to check my debt to income, they don't see those vehicles on my personal credit because I transfer them to my business. So my business owns my vehicles. I don't own my vehicles personally. All right. So that's just a huge difference right there of protecting yourself. And that's why these are so awesome. Just coming down here, quality of life. You can look through there. Veterans. I like to go into the women one right here, especially when I help people, my clients who are women. There's 104 grants, and I believe the filter's still in California. So it's still California. So just in the state of California alone, this is not other states, but just in California, there's 104 grants for women who are in business. And then you just search through here and you see like anything that's applicable to you. If you want to like not go through all 104, you can go and you can see, okay, like what else is there? Are you a nonprofit? Are you individual, small business? So let me just click on small business, apply filter. This number will change. Let's click that off. Now there's 11. So there's 11 grants for for-profits. Now that doesn't mean 11 like total, like no more across the country. That just means there's 11 on this website right here. So, like we're just getting into the weeds of finding different grants. Now, let me go back over here. Let me stop my presentation. Now, check this out. When it comes to you guys getting awarded grants, it's how you dress it. You got to remember there is a human on the other side that's reading these grants. They're accepting this money right here. Everybody should want to find grants. Everyone should apply for grants. Okay, so that should always be on your radar as a business owner. Not once a month, not once a year. I'm talking about like at least once a week. At least you should be applying for a grant for your business. There's so many grants out there. I just showed you guys a couple hundred off of a basic search. I didn't even go to my other websites. This is just one website right here. But when you're getting funding for your business, it's going to help you reduce the financial strain. You're going to be able to leverage this free money, not just other people's money, but free money. You get to leverage this free money to elevate and scale your business. What do I use grants for? I use it for my staff, for my payroll. Okay. My payroll can get pretty pricey, but now I own 4 businesses. I got a real estate business. I got a wellness center. I got my Unclaimed Funds business. I got a nonprofit. That's 4 legitimate businesses. They all got their own business bank account, right? So all these things are going on, all these moving pieces. That means I got to hire people. That's the only reason why I can run and operate 4 businesses. I position myself as a CEO to step away from being in the weeds of things, and I manage. I'm the quarterback. I'm the coach. I make sure my people got all the tools and resources they need to be successful. And I just go check on my businesses. I make sure they're going well. Okay. That's how I structured my business. But in the beginning, it wasn't like that. In the beginning, I started with nothing. I started with an idea. That idea became real when I went to the state. I went and filed with my county and my city, got all my documents. I got a bank account. I got my EIN from the IRS. Now things are real. Now I can go apply for funding. A lot of entrepreneurs, they make that crucial mistake. What do? They get a business, they buy a training course, and they're like, go, go, go. Now we got to make some money, make some sales. And they skip all the crucial steps in between. They just want to go for the win because it's going to feel good and it's satisfying. But what if you put the same amount of effort and work into getting your business funding first? Before you start getting caught up in the business, you start getting funding first. Now you make your first $50,000 to $100,000 within a couple of months. Now you got a little bit of breathing room, right? And within the first few months, let's just be real. That's usually how long it takes to get a business off the ground. Anyone who starts a fly-by-night business where you can just start a business tomorrow, get an idea today, you start tomorrow, it's probably not a stable business that's going to take off in most cases. All right. I've been in business for 20 plus years. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of nice, fancy, dangly things out there. A lot of them are MLMs or whatever. Nothing against them, but they promise you the world. And a lot of people are not equipped because they're not running it like a legitimate organization. If you thought Amazon just became from an idea and just launched like a month later, you're out of your mind. This takes planning. This takes learning. This takes coaching. This takes mentorship. You got to have the layers. But most times we don't want to invest our own money into business. And that's fine. I'm not knocking you. I used to be that guy. I wouldn't use any of my money. But if you get some funding for your business and you start applying for these grants and you start winning these awards and you start getting these lines of credit from the bank, because a lot of people don't know, you can walk into a bank today and walk out with 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand the same day. There's no lag time. There's no wait time. Credit is power. I'm just talking to you guys about these things because it's important as an entrepreneur to know how to do these things. If 30 grand today, if I promised you 30 grand, I say, hey, go do great things, but just make sure you pay me back within a year. I just want my 30 grand back within a year. I'm not going to charge you any interest. Would that be fair? You'd be like, hell yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. In addition to that, I just want 1% back every month. Just good faith. Just knowing that you got skin in the game. Just pay me back 1% every month. And you can pay me a lump sum whenever you start making real money with your business. So that gives you 12 months to make 30 grand back and then some, right? So you take that 30 grand and you use it the right way. Maybe, in that year, you go and you get yourself a few grants. Those grants can help pay off your business debts. It can pay off your debts. It can offset that stuff. So you never had to really work and hustle and grind to pay back your debts. You can use the free grant money. You just need to know how to position yourself to get this money. So what other questions do we have? What would you guys like to know? Because it's so simple, but it's difficult on the execution part. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it's easy, because if getting grants was easy, everybody would do it. Everyone would do it. Most people don't know how to take a grant proposal and how to write it in a way to where the person who's reading it is like, this aligns with my mission and vision. Like, I am let's say Jelly Belly Factory, right? There's a company out here called Jelly Belly Factory. I know it's not everywhere, but out here they give away grants and sponsorship and stuff like that. But in the lines, in between the lines, they have their mission, like the type of people who they want to help. And if I can align what I do with what they do, and I can actually show them, like, hey, yes, we do that too, or we can support each other. This is what we do too. Then I can build myself align with them so I can actually get funding from that business. Is this making sense? Is this settling with you guys? Like we got Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo got a great bank. They got their mission. They want to help people build homes. They want to help people out in all kinds of ways. If I could say, hey, I help put people in homes. This is what I do. I help people out in my community. This is what I do. It aligns with what you do. They're very similar missions. So we complement each other. Give me some money. And then Wells Fargo gives me money. It looks good on them. I take the money. It looks good for me. We're all happy, and I don't have to pay Wells Fargo back. You guys think going to the bank is just for getting loans and getting credit cards, and you think that's it. But no. I'm the guy who comes behind you in line, and I'm actually asking about grants and sponsorship. See, it's the same thing, but sometimes you got to use a different word. When you're a for-profit business, the word is sponsorship. When you're a nonprofit, it's called grant. When you're talking to banks, they have to do it like that. It's just the legalities in their world. I'm not in the banking world, so I can't explain to you why. But I spoke with one of the regional directors for Wells Fargo, and it's so funny because he kept correcting me. He said, you're not asking me for a grant. You're asking me for sponsorship. Remember that. And I was like, makes perfect sense. I need you to sponsor me so I can do what I want to do. So all those things. Okay, we got another good question right here. What is the question? Great question. All right. Forgive me if I say your name wrong. Jarcody. Jarcody says, do they follow with you after you win a grant? Yes, and yes. Yes, they do. They want to make sure you're not buying Lamborghinis. If you guys ever heard of the PPP, and if you've ever heard, that people going to jail and going to prison because they misused and abused, grants are very similar to that. Especially when you're getting state grants and federal grants, they will follow up. Private organizations, it just depends on the organization itself, but they will audit you. They will ask you to show receipts. What did you use the money on? Show like the payroll of when you paid your people. So you got to be organized. Okay. You guys cannot just take this money and just frivolously spend. They want to see, okay, show us receipts on how you spent this money. Did you pay rent? Cool. Show me the rent receipt. Did you buy a new camera? Did you buy a new laptop? Okay, we're not judging you. Show me the receipt. All right. Did you buy whatever? Like, they want receipts. They want the grant for the vehicle. We want to see where you bought that vehicle from. Let me see the $25,000 you put down on this vehicle. I don't care if you buy a Tesla or if you buy a little Honda Civic. I don't care. I just want to see the receipts. So that's how they do it. And you guys got to understand, whatever you don't spend, if you're not within the time limit that they give you, then you can lose that money. So sometimes people get millions, right? They get millions and millions of dollars, and they can't spend it fast enough. If they have integrity, they're I can't spend it fast enough. So they'll give it to other organizations. But what they'll do is they'll align it with the mission, values, and goals of the originating grant maker, and they're just going to pass it down. I reach out to other organizations, and I reach out to see if they help out with funding. There's a lot of organizations out there that help. You can go to the Red Cross and see what they got out there. You can go to Arnold Schwarzenegger's, foundation. He does a lot of stuff with the after school kids and stuff like that program. And you can reach out to him. If you have similar missions and you want some help, I know he helps out with building tiny homes. Now, I don't know if Arnold Schwarzenegger is using that with his own personal money or his business, or if he's using it with his nonprofit, but he's been known to give six-figure grants to people who provide housing for low income and homeless people. He cares about that kind of stuff. He comes and he does that. He'll fly out there and meet you and give you money if you can provide proof that you're actually doing this. And sometimes grant makers want that. They want to see that you're actually doing business. You might be a new business owner, you haven't really started, and you're applying for grants. You still have to do the work, you guys. You still have to show, like, yeah, I've done this before. Some cases require it, and then sometimes there's cases where they don't require you to show proof. So like, there's not a one size fits all grant. I got a grant from California last year, December timeframe. I want to say it was a California Dream Fund. It was $10,000. It took me like 10, 15 minutes to fill out the grant paperwork. I filled it out. They approved me about a week later for $10,000. And then their catch was, if we give you $10,000, you have to sit through like 5 or 6 webinars. They were all like an hour long. And they didn't say participate. They didn't say do whatever. They just said sit through these webinars, complete a business plan. I already had a business plan. So when they sent me the template to do the business plan, I just copy and pasted my business plan. They were like, wow, this is like information overload. But I was prepared. And see, that's why it's so important for you guys to have a business plan. If you do not have a business plan, you guys, give it the program or reach out to me, email me, say, Joe, how do you do this? I'll show you make a business plan in no time. Okay. But you need a business plan because people who give money will ask for it. This just happens sometimes. They want to know, like, what is your executive summary? What is your vision? What is your mission? Share that with us. I filled out a grant with Google, and Google, it took me like 2 hours, guys. It was a long one. But they wanted to know everything about my business. Thank God I had everything done. Thank God I've been through this process before. So I just copy and pasting everything in there. But it was still a very long process. And they had some questions I wasn't prepared for. So that's what took so long with the writing process. But can you imagine how many people gave up on the application because it took a long time? And on top of that, I had to make a video and explain why I needed a grant for my business. But if you're going to pay me 6 figures, I'm doing it. If that's all I got to do, how many of you guys worked one day and someone paid you 6 figures for one day's worth of work? Not me. I don't know. Maybe some of you all are balling out of control out there, but I've never worked for one day and was paid 6-figure salary for one day's worth of work. That's how I look at it. That's my mindset when it comes to grants, like what Google was giving. I was like, you know what? I can do that. I can satisfy this requirement, make that money, and do what I got to do to fund my business so I can pay myself, so I can buy supplies. I'm not coming out of pocket. If you guys are using your own personal credit card for your business, you're just doing it wrong. I invite you to come into my world. I invite you to reach out to me and say, hey, Joe, how do I do this? All right. I'm throwing that red carpet out there. Reach out to me and ask me, how do I stop using my own credit card? How do I leverage my business so I can fund my needs, fly first class, get these tax write-offs? Like, you should be flying business class. You should be doing these things. If Uncle Sam is going to reward you for your losses, why are you sitting coach? You got to get that millionaire mindset, right? You got to sit in the front of the plane in those cushy seats. And when you're going on trips with your family, as long as it's a business trip, right? I go to seminars, I go to workshops, I do things that's business related. When I go to certain countries and locations, I do business out there. So therefore, I can fly business class on my business credit, and I can actually have that taken care of by the IRS at the end of the year. All right. That's the advantage of being an entrepreneur. We take the most risks. We pay the most in taxes. We build the economy. And if you understand the rules of what the tax code allows you to do, and as long as everything you do aligns with you conducting business, right, then it's perfectly fine. I hire a CPA, pay him like $300 a month. It's a tax write-off. And my CPA, he keeps me out of trouble. Anytime I get this wild idea of something I want to do, and I'm trying to get like the most advantage out of like certain moves business wise, I run it through my CPA first. I'm like, hey, keep me out of jail, buddy. Can I do this? My CPA will take a look, like, all right, well, what are the activities you're doing? How many hours in a day are you spending doing these activities? Sure. Or he'd be like, what? You're just going to do an hour of looking for real estate and 8 hours of playing in a pool? He'd be like, no, Joe, you can't do that. So he breaks things down to me. So it's good for you guys to have a CPA, not a lawyer. Lawyers are for other things, but you want a tax professional in your corner that can tell you what you can do and what you can claim on your taxes. Lawyers are for other stuff. CPAs are for the tax code. All right. And the tax code was made for people who are investors and people in business. It was not made for W-2 earners or 1099 earners. Okay. It was not made for those people. It was made for business people and investors. I wanted to say wealthy people, but I know that offends folks. So if you're an investor, you're probably doing pretty well. If you're in business, you could be doing very well. Okay. So that's what the tax code is written for, because it's your advantage. It's not for W-2 people. They pay 30 to 40% of their wages goes to taxes. We keep most of our money. Elon Musk and Bezos and all those rich guys, they either don't pay any taxes at all, or they pay like a few bucks. Like it's like a drop in the water for them. They don't care. They're not paying any taxes because the tax code is written for them. Like it or not, that's just the way it is. But you are in the same bracket. Don't think because they're playing the game at a higher level that you don't got the same privileges that they got. You got a tax EIN number, so therefore the rules are the same to you. You just got to learn the rules, you guys, and learn the rules of these grants. These grants will help you take your business and your life to the next level. This person said, Monica said, hello from Ohio. What's up, Monica? What's up? Good to see you. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me. So you guys, again, I purposely put together the course Grant Secrets, and I talk about grants a lot these days because I pay attention to what's going on with the country and Congress. And when you get rid of all like the noise of what's going on in the media, you cancel all that stuff because that's a distraction, right? You cancel all that stuff out and you pay attention to what's going on with the money. Where's the money moving? This time in our lives, there'll never be this much money circulating for us as an advantage than right now. You're not too late. If you're watching this video right now and you decided, you know what, that weird guy Joe, he's right. He's making a lot of sense. I'm gonna go apply for grants. Then you're at the advantage. This is just like AI. Some of you guys, it's not too late. When Bitcoin came out back in 2013, 2014, and we all laughed at Bitcoin, well, guess what? All those people who joined on back then, they're all millionaires, right? And if we join now, we're just out of luck. It's too late. That bus passed us by. Good luck getting rich on Bitcoin, right? But like this is the time right now with AI and with grants. There'll never be a time like this again. Why? Because with grants and the pandemic, well, guess what happened? The pandemic just shook everything up. It changed everything. Okay. And now we're trying to recover. We're only 3 years removed from the whole country, the whole world being shut down. 3 years removed. And you think that's over? No, we got work to do. And they need to build us back up. I just want to flash this again because the story behind this photo, I'm going to flash across my screen for you guys. This is a gentleman that never really believed that he was eligible for grants. He was just running his business and just going off of people's goodwill to help him fund his business. And he came across one of my videos and kind of took notes, took lessons, and he applied himself, and he ended up getting himself this big check right here, $124,000. This is a real check right there. All right. And that's from the Act Now Education Organization right there. Act Now Education. This is an educational grant right there. They just provide education. I'm just teaching people some stuff. And I'm not downplaying the organization because I actually like it. I think they do great things, especially for our military community, but they applied themselves. They took action. And that's where people fail. They fail to take action. They discount themselves. They doubt their business and they don't get it done. I'm making this video for you. I can be applying for grants right now. I don't have to do this, but I care about you and I care about your business. So I want you to do well. I want you to crush it. And I'm making a call to action. I'm calling you to go out there and start applying for grants. I'm calling on you to start looking at yourself. Look in the mirror, ask yourself what's unique about you. And please believe me, there is something about you or an action that you do within your business that will set you up for your next $50,000, $100,000, $300,000 grant. It will happen for you, but you have to apply. You will lose 100% of the grants that you don't apply for. You will. I don't care if you only get one grant. Out of 100, you apply for 100, you only get one. I don't even care. That's a win. You might get 10,000 this year. That's $10,000 more than you got last year. How many of you all could use an extra $10,000? Just if someone just gave you $10,000, would you not be happy about that? Would you not be happy? Well, shoot, 5,000. I'll take 5,000 too. That's low-hanging fruit. You can get that from your local city. You can get that from your county. So my question to you guys is, what are you waiting for? What are we waiting for when it comes to funding your business? Why are we waiting so long to fund our business? We're spinning our wheels. You're spending your own money. You're burning a hole through your wallet. Your credit cards are maxed out. You're stressed out. You're financially burning out. Most businesses fail because of lack of planning and lack of financing. Those are like the top two reasons why most businesses fail. You're upside down. You can't afford it. I survived COVID for a couple of reasons. I mean, well, number one, I went online with my business, but number two, I got some large grants. My back was against the wall. I learned about grants and my eligibility during COVID, guys. I haven't been doing this for 25 years. I haven't been doing this for 10 years. I've been doing this since COVID because my back was against the wall. I hustled, I bustled. I had a brick and mortar business I was paying $2,800 a month for. And guess what? I made it happen. I got the money I needed. I'm good. And I told myself every year since then, Joe, you are going to always apply for grants. There will never be a year that you don't bust your tail to get grants. I started off making like what $15,000 the first year, 40,000 the next year, a little over 50 grand, and then I made over 100 grand. This year I'm going for seven figures. You guys know the story. I don't need to keep going through the story. Like I'm setting that bar higher and higher, because I'm realizing it's out there. The government wants me to do this, and I'm creating more jobs. I'm going to keep hiring people. The more grants I get, I'm going to help feed more families by providing jobs, positions. I got people working for me. I mean, come on. Think about how many people's lives you can change with a little bit of money in your pocket. How you can break away from your 9-to-5 job with a little bit of money in your pocket. So what are you waiting for? Why are you getting frustrated trying to build your next e-commerce store, your tax overages business? You're trying to do some type of business that's out there, but you have no funding. You got nothing but a wish and a dream. That's not going to get you going in business. I've been in business long enough to tell you guys, like, look, this is really, really going to help you out. And then, Monica, you're welcome. You're in the process of getting your LLC and nonprofit going. I like that. Yeah, well, I'm glad you never knew about the nonprofit. You started following me. Well, thank you. I'm glad. I think every family or every household should have a nonprofit. Every household should have a nonprofit, especially if you're a person that likes to do good and you like to get involved in your community. Please get a nonprofit. Because number one, you don't have to pay taxes on it, but it's tax exempt. But number two, if you're going to do good by people, get credit for it. Allow people to celebrate you. I see this all the time. People are like, oh, no, don't open the door for me. Don't do this nice thing for me. You guys got to understand, we get fulfillment by helping people. If you steal that from me, if you take that away, I open a door for you and you're like, oh, no, please don't. You're taking that joy away from me. If someone wants to hand you $100, like you do so much great things, I want to give you $100. Doesn't matter if it's $100 or $100,000. Doesn't matter. Don't say no. Allow me to feel good because I'm doing something nice to you. And then you get to pay that forward by doing something nice for somebody else. So change your mindset, change the way you're looking at things and how we're doing things. I'm telling you right now, it will change your life. Stop thinking you're broke. Don't think with the number that's in your bank account right now. Your bank account might be zero. It might be negative something. But I tell you one thing, other people got money and other people put money out there for you to go get. But your job, your responsibility is to go get that money. You got to stop thinking like a W-2 earner. If you are an entrepreneur, you got to put down a hammer and say, I'm going to be the most badass, hardworking, innovative entrepreneur there ever will be. Doesn't matter if it's true or not. You got to believe it. You got to believe it. Because you got guys out there like me who's not afraid to put in the work. But there's enough out there for all of us to eat. We can all get at the table and eat together. But the problem is, if you're not willing to sit at the table with me, well, you're going to get the scraps that the rest of us leave behind. I'm inviting you to sit at the table with us. I'm no better than you. I'm no different than you. I pay attention and I execute. You're paying attention, but are you going to execute? That's the difference right there. You don't need another course. You don't need another idea. You need to execute. Take action. That's it. Stop being afraid. You can't play the game scared if you're an entrepreneur. I tell people all the time, you don't need your spouse's permission. You don't need your friend's validation. You don't need none of this stuff. If you need to learn something, you want to learn it well, go get yourself a course, learn it well, and then execute. The course means nothing for you if you're not executing on it. It means nothing. I've come across a lot of people. They learn all these things. They know all these things. They're super smart, but they don't execute. They're struggling financially because they're not willing to put in the work. When I close this video right here, I'm running my butt over to the bank. I'm about to go ask for some more money. The thing is for you guys, I need you to do the same thing. You guys, it's time to get busy. I'm going to see you guys next video. Have a great weekend. Be safe. And congratulations to all the parents out there whose children are graduating this week, last week, next week. Congrats. Your kids made it. On to the next year. Let's go.